Hello, friends. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but we are doing a quarterly review in today's video. We are doing our Q2 review, and if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, you know how these videos go. I try to do it slightly vloggy style because I think it's a little bit more fun and personal, and I like doing these as if we're kind of on FaceTime together, if that makes sense. So let's get this quarterly review started. I am actually really excited because this quarter was an interesting one. I just have a feeling. Okay, friends, I'm sitting in this random corner in my house with this random angle and the mic in the view because it is 100 degrees right now. It feels like 107 degrees. And this is the coolest room aside from the kitchen where the AC actually is. And the AC is extremely loud. So this is the best that I can do given the circumstances. I hope you don't mind. But I like to start these videos by going through some quick tips, tricks, hacks, anything that I can share about quarterly reviews before I actually get into my personal quarterly review, which is hopefully going to help you kind of visualize and understand how you're going to apply this to your own quarterly review. And let's just start with what are quarterly reviews. That's probably super important, right? I took this idea of a quarterly review from the workplace. You may have heard the phrase quarterly review in the workplace, where every quarter, every few months, we stop and we look at our goals and we see how far we're getting in our goals and achieving our goals in the workplace, whether it's through data, analytics, tracking, sales, whatever it may be. And so I've taken this concept from the workplace and have applied it to my personal life and my personal goals. I did this basically to treat my personal goals and joys just as importantly, if not more importantly, than work goals. And it really helps me keep track. It really holds me accountable for my personal goals and joys. And I think that's something that's really important and something that we should be doing, because if we don't, or at least in my experience, if I don't hold myself accountable, I will easily lose track of my personal goals and joys, and that will fall off to the side. And as a result, I end up being unhappy because I'm not prioritizing myself. So it's a very type A analytical approach to personal goals and personal joys, but I find it to be extremely effective. And I only do it once every quarter, obviously. So it's not too intensive, I think. And yeah, those are what personal quarterly reviews are. So how are you going to do your best in your quarterly reviews? What I like to start with, and we're going to go into this right after this clip, but I like to set the vibe. I love to do my quarterly reviews first thing in the morning because I love mornings and it's my favorite time of the day. I just love a good fresh start. And so I like to do my quarterly reviews in the morning. And what comes with morning time? Coffee, at least for me. So I like to make myself a really good cup of coffee. I like to romanticize the whole process and really just, I don't know, be present in that moment. So let's do that now. And as I make my coffee, I will talk through some more tips and tricks, starting with wins. When we do our quarterly reviews, we're going to be talking about wins, all of the successes that we've made throughout the quarter. And wins are extremely important and you should celebrate them. I think it's pretty obvious when we succeed in something, we want to celebrate that. So I think this is a given. And so this is basically my reminder to you that you should celebrate your wins no matter the size. If they're very tiny wins, if they are partial wins, if they are massive, you cross a complete thing off your checklist kind of win, all of these things should be celebrated, because when we reward ourselves for all the nuances of our wins, we are basically encouraging and enticing ourselves to continue doing these quarterly reviews. And in that same vein, we should talk about setbacks. You're going to be talking about setbacks. You're going to be going through setbacks in your quarterly reviews. It is inevitable, first of all. And second of all, you should also look at setbacks as more like a lesson learned. And instead of kind of beating yourself up over a setback, it's more important to focus on what the lesson learned is there so that you can apply that to your future quarterly review or your future quarter, which you will see me do once I get into my quarterly reviews, because like I said, it is inevitable and I am bound to talk about some setbacks in my quarterly review very shortly. And finally, like I mentioned throughout this entire thing, celebrate no matter what. So the fact that you're watching this video is a call for celebration. I am proud of you for even thinking and considering doing personal quarterly reviews, because you are actively taking action towards a better you and a better personal life and work-life balance and all of those things. So I'm really, really proud of you. And now we're going to jump into my quarterly review. Okay, I have my coffee. It has been my go-to for the past while now. It's kind of like an iced latte, but I don't put as much milk, as you can clearly see. And I do a little splash of hazelnut creamer. So it's like a half hazelnut latte, if that even makes sense, but it's really, really good. And now that I have my delicious coffee ready to go, you can see I'm also sitting at my desk. I have my computer here up as well, because while most of my quarterly review that I'm going to be showing you is in my journal, I also go onto my computer, I go into my Notion, and I do some cleanup there as well. And I will also show you my Notion. I'll show you like a bit of a cleanup for, I actually have to clean it up for summer. I have to like make it look all summery. So we'll do that together, but I also do some kind of boring analytical type of things that are kind of associated with quarterly reviews, but I apply it to Slow Morning Diaries. So I won't show you that part. That's probably the only part I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to jump into it, have my coffee like I said. I'm going to put on a feel good playlist. I tend to go for something that I like to sing along to, so it's usually the 1975 or Paramore or something like that, but I will see you in a bit. Okay, friends, so that was a fun quarterly review. I feel like I get faster and faster with these as the time goes on. When I first started doing the quarterly reviews, it would take me an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, but now it takes me 30 minutes. So I think that's pretty cool that I kind of know how the setup is. I know what to expect, and I kind of go through it. I breeze through it. I don't do that intentionally. I'm not trying to rush through it, but it's still a good, feel good 30 minutes, and I get everything done in that 30 minutes. So hopefully that is reassurance to you if you're kind of skeptical about starting a quarterly review. It may take some time in the beginning to set things up and know what you're doing, but over time you'll get used to it and you'll be done in no time. 30 minutes every few months, that's nothing. Super easy. Okay, so let's actually talk about the quarterly review and all of the prompts and all of the things that I do in my quarterly review so that you can copy, paste, do the exact same thing if you want. And that all happens in my journal. Now I'm showing you two different books here because I took out my planner from this insert, and this insert is customizable. I can put as many notebooks as I want in here. Why did I do that? I don't know. I got to put it back in, but I have some trouble getting this all put together, so I'm going to do that off camera. But just know that this planner is my actual calendar planner, and it's supposed to go in here. Just wanted to note that. But I'm going to go into my planner here in the back, and I have another journal right here, and this one is blank. It just has lined pages in it, and this is where I write out my prompts and all the things for my quarterly review. So I'm going to flip to that, and I also like to have my 2025 goals up while I'm doing my quarterly review, and I also like to have my planner around when I'm doing my quarterly review because I'm using this all as, yes, it's a planner, yes, it's a journal, yes, it's all of these things, but I also tend to look at it as a way of looking at documentation. And so when I need to really remember what I did over the past quarter, I can look in my planner and literally flip through the weeks and see what I did. I can also go into my journal and look at my monthly reflections, which I do every single month on this channel with you guys, and I can see what I've done there as well. Flipping to the quarterly review, and I'll go through each prompt and my answer to each prompt. So, oh my gosh, I forgot to write my word, and that's the very first prompt. So let me, I have to actually think of it. I just did this, but I need to think of a word, you know? Okay, got it. All right, so the very first prompt, like I just hinted at, is my word for quarter two. And I chose the word disciplined, and you'll see why as I go through the rest of this. But I think disciplined is a good word. It's a word that I tend to not associate with myself. Actually, I feel like I lack discipline in so many different areas. So I'm really happy to be able to use that word for Q2. My second prompt for the quarterly review are my quarter two wins. So all of the wins that I think are worth noting, and I have quite a few. So the first one is I completed the Artist's Way. You all know that that was like a really huge goal for me, especially at the start of the year when I was unemployed. I had more time and space to focus on the Artist's Way. I was really in a headspace where I needed the Artist's Way, and I'm so glad that I was able to complete it in a timely manner, week over week, and it truly did change my life for the better. So that is a huge, huge win for me. The second thing, and possibly the largest thing on this list, but I launched Sunday Paper House, which if you did not know, Sunday Paper House is my mindfully made paper goods brand. It's a stationery brand, and I decided on this at the start of the year, and I launched it from the start of the year. Like, I built it up from the start of the year all the way to now, and I launched it about a week ago on June 20th. So that was major. Again, the biggest accomplishment for the year. I'm going to call it right now. For the entire year, that is going to be my biggest accomplishment. And I accomplished that within Q2. So super, super proud of myself. If you want to check it out, it's on sundaypaperhouse.com. Okay, the next win is that I spent time on hobbies, specifically gardening. I have all of my plants thriving right now, which is really exciting to see. Painting, of course, that's a hobby, even though it is also part of my job now. It is also a hobby, so I spent a lot of time painting. At the start of the year, I was painting every single day, so that's huge for me. Reading. I got back into reading. I haven't been reading much this year. I'll just tell you that right now. I've been really, really busy, but I did do some reading. I started 2 books. Did I finish any of those 2 books? No, but I have been progressively getting through them, and I'm just happy that I've been able to do that, given how busy I am. And another thing, playing games. I've been playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game. I've been playing Dead by Daylight. Those are 2 that I always am on rotation. I started Inzoi, which is like a Sims kind of game. I'm trying to think if I played anything else. I think I played Mario Kart. I can't think of anything else, but I have been playing games here and there, and that has been really exciting for me because you all know that I tend to neglect gaming when it comes to all of my hobbies, and I think that's it, but that's plenty. Okay, the next thing, work-life balance. So if you did not know, I started the year off unemployed, but then I got a job in March, and then once I got that job, there was a lot of balancing that I needed to work through. I needed to work through navigating a new job while also trying to build a business at the same time, while also like everything being super, super new. And so I had to neglect a lot of my habits, my personal habits and personal joys, honestly, to kind of make up for the amount of time that I was spending trying to navigate all of this change. And I can say by the end of Q2, I have been able to come back to a proper balance, and I'm so thrilled about that, because having a good work-life balance is so critical, not just for your literal time, but it's also critical for your mental capacity. And if you feel like you're stressing out more on your work than anything else, it can take away even more time and energy away from whatever little space you have for personal joys. Next is big house projects. I'll show you more about this in my Notion tour, because I have like a whole Notion board for my home projects. I put money into savings. That's a goal that I have for 2025, is put money into my savings every single month. I have completed that every single month. I actually looked into my savings and I did the math. I have been putting money into my savings for now a consecutive 40 months, which is really cool to be able to say. And I have to thank my, month over month goals and stuff like that, my yearly goals, for helping me be able to hold myself accountable on that. And the last win is I returned to healthy habits. Again, this is all part of the work-life balance, but with the work-life navigating thing, I really stopped prioritizing body movement and intentional meals, curated meals. And so, again, I'm coming back into a place where that is balancing itself back. And so I've returned to those healthy habits. Happened at the end of the quarter, but it still happened in this quarter. So that is still a win. All right, and that is that prompt. The next prompt is setbacks. So just like I listed out all of my wins, I want to list out my setbacks. And those setbacks, I don't have as much, which is something I'm really grateful to be able to say, but I did less art than I expected. One of my 2025 goals is to just create art. And although I did create a lot of art in Q2, it was definitely not comparable to the amount of art that I was doing in Q1. Now, with that being said, in Q1, most of that time I did not have a job, so I had a lot more time and space to dedicate to art. And in Q2, I was navigating a lot of change, so that took away a lot of time for art. So I'm being graceful with myself there, but at the same time, I didn't focus on it, so I'm going to consider that a setback. Okay, the next setback is less slow morning diaries content. Actually, that's the next thing, and the last thing is that I did a lot less content for slow morning diaries. Again, showing myself grace here. Got a new job. The job is hybrid. I'm going into the office more, so there's less time and breaks for me to be able to create content, especially in a cozy space that I like to film, which is at home. So showing myself grace there. And also, I have been trying to launch a brand, and that also includes creating content for the brand. And so a lot of the time that I did have the capacity to create content, I was creating it for Sunday Paper House rather than Slow Morning Diaries. Showing myself grace, I'm okay with that. However, it is a setback. I do want to focus on Slow Morning Diaries, and that is my main focus at the end of the day. Like, this channel means a lot to me, and one of my 2025 goals is to really focus on my YouTube in particular. And so I call that a setback, even though I am still showing myself grace, and it's understandable as to why I didn't create as much content as I would like. And with that being said, the following prompt is lessons learned. So what lessons can I learn from my setbacks, my wins, just anything over the past quarter? And what I wrote is that sometimes it's best not to dwell on things and just keep moving forward to achieve discipline, which is so cool to like read that and then also go back to my word of the quarter, which is disciplined. It's because I learned that lesson so much and so effectively that it became my word of the quarter. So that's really cool to say. What I mean when I say this is particularly with Slow Morning Diaries, not creating as much content, and Sunday Paper House, which is I had so many moments while building Sunday Paper House where I wanted to give up. And I talk about creative U-turns and as to why that was the case in my launch vlog, if you're interested in seeing that. So I don't want to be redundant, but long story short, there are so many times where I will get caught up in little details, in overthinking, in these thoughts, these doubtful thoughts, and it would really stop me and entice me to go backwards, to create a U-turn, to just be like, forget everything and whatever, I'll just drop it, I'll just give up. And so I really learned that I have to first acknowledge those thoughts, and two, be able to push past them and just say, thanks for those thoughts. They are not helpful. I'm going to leave them over here and I'm just going to keep going. And being able to do that, being able to acknowledge, identify, and then move forward is really, really effective for discipline because it allows you to continue going, keep going, and pursue the path that you initially started on that you almost gave up on. And that, in and itself is a lack of discipline if you think about it. So just pushing forward, just moving forward, regardless of all the thoughts, regardless if the thoughts are valid or not, whatever it may be, just pushing forward and doing the thing and just doing it, even if your mind is telling you that it's not perfect, it very well could be. And even if it's not, it doesn't matter. You just need to make it to the finish line. You can make adjustments along the way. Nothing is always permanent. And that was a huge lesson and fantastic thing to discover as someone who lacks discipline. Okay, and then the almost last prompt here is moving forward wants. I just have two. One is to focus on art because, of course, art is really important and I want to continue creating art throughout this year. And I almost have to now that I have a business that relies on my art. So not only is there a necessity, but it's also a want. So that's definitely a big focus. And I also want to focus on Sunday Paper House. I know that this is going to sacrifice some for Slow Morning Diaries. I think it's mostly going to sacrifice some on my short form content, like on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm willing to take that sacrifice to focus in on Sunday Paper House more, because at the end of the day, Sunday Paper House is a business and I want this business to thrive. So I need to really focus in on that. And I'm willing to, move some things around in order to achieve that. So we'll see what happens in Q3. But the final prompt is my rating for Q2. And I did a 9 out of 10, which is fantastic. I think I mentioned this in my last quarter review, but at the end of 2024, my rating was like a 3 or maybe less than that. I can't really remember. But my Q1, I believe, was an 8 out of 10 or 8 point something out of 10, and I gave myself a 9. So we're moving up in this sense, even if it was just a little bit, and I'm really happy about that. 9 out of 10 is almost perfect, and I can't even envision what a perfect 10 out of 10 quarter is. Maybe I have had that in the past. Can't remember what that would look like, but we can only go up from here. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But those are all of the prompts for my quarter review. Don't forget to keep note of those if you want to truly copy and paste my prompts and use them for your own quarter review. But we are going to go into my Notion now and do some cleanup, and then I will see you back here to wrap things up. Okay, friends, so welcome to my little Notion tour. We are just going to clean this up and make it look a little bit more summery, because if you did not know, this was my setup for spring. We have plenty of spring images and colors here, and I like to switch it up for the summer, or for any season rather. So we're going to make this look pretty summery, and then I'm going to spend most of the time over here, and I will explain that once we get to it. So let's just start with the fun, creative things, which is, of course, starting up here by changing the cover. I feel like I always speed through this, so I'm going to try and slow it down, but if you hover over the cover over here, you can go to change cover, and then you can, either go into gallery, you can upload, you can paste an image link, or you can use Unsplash. I like to use Unsplash because it's very simple. I'm not looking for something super intensive when it comes to images, so I think this works just fine for me. But what I like to search like keywords that are associated with the season and then add aesthetic to the end of it. So I am gonna do, let's see, beach aesthetic. And that tends to bring up some really lovely photos. And I don't know, there's something about this that I always tend to love. Ooh, I like that too. Ooh, I think, as you can see, I'm a big fan of like water, but something about this is calling to me, so I'm gonna go with that. Okay, great. I'm also going to change this into something more summery. I've really been into the shell, so let's go with the shell. Already, we're having summer vibes here. But let's change this. I also rushed through this, but basically this icon is already there. If you click on it, it will open up the prompt for you to change the icon. Sorry. And then I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to hover over this image, and a bunch of settings show up. So that's essentially what I'm doing to change all of these. Oh, I need to scroll up so that I can see it properly. Oh, I don't know why it's being weird. Oh, here we go. It's right at the top. I didn't need to do that. Okay, going to Unsplash, and let's do, instead of beach aesthetic, let's do beach painting. You guys obviously can see that I love paintings as well. Ooh, some really good ones came up. Let's go with, I kind of like this because it's got a sunset. Oh my gosh, I kind of love that. Okay, let's stick with it. Over here, we're going to do the same thing. Now let's go with some fruit. Obviously, we have to bring some fruit in, summer fruit. Sunday Paper House is all about that. So let's do farmers market aesthetic. These images are not really aesthetic. Let's just do farmers market. Okay. These look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. So let's go with it. I kind of like this. Yeah, that's cute. I'm into it. Okay. And the final image. What should we do? Just summer aesthetic? Let's see what comes up. More water, a lot of water. Oh, what if we did a sunset? Sunset aesthetic. You know what? Let's go back to the painting and do, let's see, summer painting maybe? That's kind of cute. Let's go back to the beach. There were so many good ones for the summer beach. Yeah, let's give something here a go. How about this? Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Okay. I like the colors, summery colors, but they're kind of muted, which you guys know I am a fan of. And let's change the yellow on the backgrounds. Again, let me backtrack. These are header backgrounds, as you can see. And if you hover over to the side, this bar comes up. You click on that, and then you go to color, and you can see I used a yellow background, but I want to change it up for the summer. Should we do blue for like the water? Let's see how that looks. I'm not mad at it. There's blue elements in all of these pictures, so let's go with it. We're going for like a beachy, water, by the coast kind of vibes, I guess. And then maybe, should we keep the text here white? Yeah, let's just keep it white. It's fine. Okay, great. So we are all set up for summer. Not the most traditional sense of summer aesthetic, but I think it does make me happy. So I'm going to stick with it. And like I said, I am going to do a bit of cleanup here. And so right now it says 2025 Q2 master to-do list. Obviously we are shifting from Q2 to Q3, so I'm just going to change that to Q3. And then I'm going to do some cleanup over here. So this is just, if you did not know, this master to-do list is kind of like a brain dump of random things that I want to do that are associated with the quarter. Okay, there was a slight break in my talking just now because Ian came and distracted me. I still can't film properly in front of him. But anyway, essentially what this master to-do list is a brain dump of random things that I want to get done in the quarter, but they don't fit in particular places in my planner. It's truly just a brain dump, and I look at this space specifically throughout the entire quarter to just randomly complete the things that are on there. So it's just kind of like a brain dump space, and it has been effective for me. So I'm keeping with it, and we should clean it up for Q3. And so what I'm going to do is just look through these things and erase what I need to erase, keep what I need to carry over in Q3, and all of that good stuff. So as you can see, I've already crossed off the backyard fence. We built a backyard fence and we completed that in Q2, so that can be erased. You can also see there's like a red stricken text down here where it says living room decor. I wanted to do this in Q2, but then I decided against it because I started working on some other home projects, and we'll get into that momentarily. So I'm just going to erase this. This is something that I'm going to table for the time being. And then all of these that are highlighted in yellow means that I have been actively working on them. And I'll just cross some of the things out just to show you and show me that I completed certain things, or maybe I didn't. But Threads and TikTok and Substack hangout time, this is essentially a reminder to myself to get onto these platforms and just hang out for a little bit, engage with my community, and all the things associated with that. I'm gonna check it off and then erase it because I don't need it anymore, but I did complete this, so yay for that. And the same goes for YouTube watch hours. This was just a note for me to try and increase my watch hours this quarter, and after doing some digging, I did do that, so yay again. Another thing is pool. This, essentially, I wanted to build a DIY stock tank pool in our backyard. I also completed this just under a week ago, so this was a very recent completion, but I did get it done in Q2, which was the goal, and I'm so happy about that because I completed it the same week that we had the heat wave. Mind blowing to be able to go outside and not struggle with being outside because I could sit in a pool. That was very refreshing. And then the last thing was IG annotated photos, which was a reminder for me to do more annotated photo posts on Instagram. I tried my real hardest on this one, you guys, but Instagram was messing with the text and it would get all squishy and ugly. And so I didn't do this as much as I would like to, but I think I did one. So we're gonna give myself an A plus for participation at the very least. And now I'm going to add in new things. I've actually already created a little master list here, so I'm just going to hit paste and add those in. And then I'm going to highlight and hover over, hold on, highlight and, why won't it let me do it? Weird. Okay, I'll just do that. I didn't need to highlight it. Hover over that little section there and then turn it into a to-do list. That's so weird that it's showing up as one thing, but okay. There we go. We have 3 things added onto my Q3 master to-do list, which is 1, create refreshed, slow living short form content for Slow Morning Diaries. Just as refreshed as I possibly can. So we'll see how that goes. I also want to create more quick content for TikTok. So me just grabbing my camera, pointing it at myself, saying something, and then hitting post. I really overthink it, especially with TikTok, and I don't have to. So I want to do more of that. And then refreshing my newsletter. If you did not know, my newsletter is now on Substack, and I want to write more. Like, I want the newsletter to be a little bit more extended and full of a lot of resources and stories and stuff like that. So I want to consider refreshing it in the next quarter. We'll see how far I get with that, but the master to-do list is there just for me to acknowledge it, look at it, and aim towards achieving them within the entire quarter. So I have 3 months to look at these things. More things may be added, more things might not. We'll see. But one other thing that I wanted to show you before I close off the Notion tour is this section over here. I'm not going into all of these things. These things are full of random things, but I did want to go into house projects really quickly and just show you what we're working on here. So I actually removed, I made this section over here of completed tasks so that it wasn't all over here, and I just want to show you that we did the hot tub / pool here. So we completed it in Q2, which is very exciting. Now moving back to pending stuff, I do have something here for August, which is part of Q3, and I don't know if I am actually going to do this. It's a kitchen renovation, and I don't know if I can actually do a kitchen renovation this summer. I want to, at the very least, paint the cabinets. That has been a project for a year at this point, so I might adjust this by doing kitchen cabinets, and I know that I'm painting them. I'm not like completely redoing them. So I'll put that in progress because I've actually been in progress with that for some time, and we'll see how that goes. I will take you along this journey as I go into this space on a monthly basis. So you'll find out soon, but that is it, I think, for the Notion tour. I hope that was interesting. Okay, friends, I hope you liked that little Notion tour, did some cleanup, added some new things for Q3, and made it look a little bit more summery, which I'm so thrilled about. I love changing up my Notion for the different seasons. It gets me into the seasonal spirit. But hopefully you enjoyed this quarter review and hanging out with me, learning more about me and my quarters, but also learning a little bit more about quarterly reviews and how you can apply it to your own life. And I would love to hear about your Q2. Let me know whether you want to share your rating, or if you want to share your word, or if you want to share any wins, setbacks, lessons learned, anything at all. I would love to hear about it in the comments and celebrate with you, because once again, if you made it even through this entire video, that is a huge congratulations, and I'm proud of you for prioritizing yourself and your personal joys and seeking ways in order for you to do that. So once again, celebrating with you from afar. I hope you had a fantastic Q2. If not, I hope you are excited for a fantastic Q3, and I will talk to you in the next video.